Hey, everybody. This is Jason Bryan, and I'm excited to be part of Humans of Telecom.
Hey everyone, a very warm welcome to Humans of Telecom, the Unplugged podcast. This is your host Anurag Aggarwal. As you all know, this is a platform where we dive into the fast-moving world of telecom, uncovering the personal journeys of industry leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs. And our guest today is one such person who is truly someone I would call as the man of the industry. When I met this extremely soft-spoken and unassuming individual for the first time, I didn't know that there will be so much more to him than what meets the eye. He is the founder and CEO of an organization which wears so many hats within our telecom space, be it research, consulting, acting as a training powerhouse, and even sparking transformational thinking through well-known hackathons. If that was not enough, this gentleman has gone onwards to create one more accelerator program that focuses on speeding up innovation and education within the roaming and interconnect industry. Beyond these accomplishments, not only has he shared his insights through TED Talks, but he's also earned recognition from the GSMA for his leadership in industry working groups. And lastly, one of the facets I love about this person's thinking is his dedication to recognizing companies and individuals making a difference within our industry. And the fact that rank and seniority never makes any difference to him resonates so much with the philosophy of the Humans of Telecom initiative. So, let's hear it directly from him. Please join me in welcoming Jason Bryan, founder and CEO at ROCCO Group. Jason, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this journey. We'd love to hear more about you. Which part of the world do you belong to? And from where are you joining this podcast today?
Well, I'm still trying to get over your intro because it was so kind and so beautiful. So thank you very much for that. And it's a real pleasure to be here. Thanks, Anurag. It's nice to do a podcast with you again. And this time the roles are reversed. So I'm Jason. I am from Yorkshire in the UK, but nowadays I live in Andalusia in Spain, just like an hour south of the beautiful city of Seville.
Yeah, Jason, I too am happy that the tables have turned, and this time I can be the one putting up all the questions and you're on the hot seat.
It's a very hot seat, actually, I have to say.
Is it? How's the weather there in Spain right now?
Oh, it's yeah. We still have summer, let's put it that way. So it's fine.
Awesome. So, Jason, you mentioned that you're originally from the UK, but now you're based in Spain. So, let's hear a bit more about your journey. How was the journey of growing up in UK? What made you shift to Spain? Is Spain the first place you moved to after UK, or were there other options you had? And how's it been like in Spain now? So, let's hear your journey.
Oh gosh. Well, I've lived in 7 countries actually. I've moved around quite a bit. My family moved to Canada when I was very young, and it kind of gave me the inspiration, when your family put you in another country, take you out of school, and, you have to face a new reality. It really grows you as an individual, but it also inspires you, right, to do more travel. And I think that's always been in my blood, and so I moved around a fair bit. And yeah, it was exciting to see different cultures. Some are very different to what you expect. Some are very similar to your home culture. And I'm currently in Spain. I absolutely love living here. It's not about the weather so much as the pace of life, the amazing food. It's just a paradise for me.
I think, Jason, culturally also, from whatever I've interacted with you, I think your nature and your pace of things work very well with the Spanish way of working as well. So I think, and by that, I don't mean that you are slow or laid back, but I've seen you do things in a very, very calm demeanor. I've never seen you charged up or, seeing your feathers being ruffled in any manner. You've always had a very, very calm demeanor about anything and everything. And that's why I feel that you are in the perfect climate to match that sort of a temperament.
Well, actually, that's the interesting part, because Spanish people, like Italians and Greek and any other Mediterranean countries, are very passionate people. I'm also very passionate, so that's why I identify with Spain, So that is great that I give off that demeanor behind the scenes. It's not necessarily the case. I'm a super ambitious person. And, I needed that to help me to get where I am, just to grow businesses and to develop myself. So,
And what made this ambitious person get onto this journey of creating a new industry body altogether. I think it's
Ah,
been there for over a decade now. So, what was the genesis behind the organization that runs Genesis? So, let's
right.
hear a bit more about that.
Well, at a certain point in time, I got a job offer from Vodafone Group. I was based in Luxembourg, and after 4 years of that, which I was doing strategy work, I kind of saw that there was market needs which weren't being satisfied, right? And one of them was around research and the fact that there was so much market distortion from research companies in the industry, inflated valuations and all this kind of thing. And I thought, actually, I can't work with this because I need to plan, I need to do figures, I need to develop things. And so it gave me the idea to start ROCCO, which started as a research company. And pretty soon I was asked to do training and consulting work. And I mean, that has led to over 250 reports in the industry on messaging and roaming. Our customers are Facebook, Google, Apple. You know, these companies value what we're doing. And of course, one of the most rewarding things of ROCCO has been the ROCCO 100 and doing this research into the individuals, the humans in our industry and learning about them. It's I'm sure you agree, a very rewarding thing to do.
Absolutely. And I think there are already a lot of organizations which work on ranking companies, but being able to work on a lot of attributes of individuals and trying to keep
Yeah.
it as scientific as possible. I know for sure that that's not an easy one. And having been on the other side and experienced that entire activity of the ROCCO 100, I can say for sure that it's something very unique and it's much more thorough than something which is typically just done by a panel of judges and then it's there is no transparency attached to it. So kudos to you on that initiative.
Yeah, we actually now heard from the University of Seville because they're doing a study into human nature, and it's kind of they're very interested in this research, and so we're actually working with them to see how we can develop it further because there's a lot of interesting insights coming out of diversity, inclusion, all these topics I love. So
Absolutely, I can totally get that. So all the best for that study. And so, Jason, in this entire journey of yours, where there's so much that you've done, is there any one particular moment, something very memorable or impactful that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I think it was a couple of years ago. I was at a party in the desert in Dubai, and we'd started a new industry association called IO. And the host of the party had made a cake which recognized 30 years of roaming, and I was the one to cut the cake. And you know, when you put so much of your life into this, I've worked in roaming for 29 years. It's kind of something that it's part of you. You want to see that develop, and it was just such an amazing thing to be recognized in that way. A big group of people in the middle of the desert, and we celebrated with this cake. But it's kind of more about where we could go, as well. And that's the key thing about IO is to accelerate the industry, to execute on projects, to deliver. So all in all, a very rewarding experience.
Absolutely. I can totally resonate with that. I think when there is a concept in your mind and when you see that come to fruition and something tangible come out of it, and eventually that idea becoming reality and becoming a part of the ecosystem around you, I think that can be an extremely rewarding moment. So, totally get that. Okay. And on that note, now, Jason, let's shift gears. So, no more about Rocco or IO or about the industry. Let's just talk about Jason, the person. So let's move to the human side. And Jason, somebody for whom I'm putting the title as man of the industry. What is one thing which you feel we all don't know about you? Something shocking, some sort of a revelation, something which we don't know about Jason, which we get to know today on the podcast.
Well, the best thing I can think of regarding this question, because it's quite a challenging thing to think of something shocking, but um, I'm I've always had a very strong passion for writing. Throughout my career, I came from doing writing. I was published when I was 10 years old in Canada from writing that I did at the time. I wrote hundreds of poems and stories since then. And I've run writing groups, and I've helped people to get books published. And this is something which is very, very close to my heart. So it's something that I think a lot of people don't know. When you talk about your career, you talk about, you say, you mentioned that you've done English literature as your degree. It's not an obvious fit with telecoms, right? But it is for me that I've done a lot of journalistic work over the course of the last 29 years in this industry, and I continue to write all the time. It's very rewarding. I encourage others to do the same.
So for sure, Jason, that's not something which I would call shocking, because in your case, it actually seems quite befitting your personality. So I think it's something which, yeah, maybe many people didn't know about your creative side and the side which connects with literature. But okay, good to know. We'll take that as an answer. But beyond writing, for that matter, and bringing the industry together, is there something else that makes Jason recharge himself? Something that's your passion or interest?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything where I can be creative, right? This is I think I have a lot of ideas, but any kind of like medium I can pick. So I paint, I make pottery. I love, if I don't have the time for that, I just cook. I'm cooking like every day. I taught myself how to do a lot of different things, make fresh pasta, make limoncello. And I guess another thing is traveling, of course. That's what gets you into this industry, really, is the opportunity kind of like to see other cultures and to work with them. It's amazing. So these are things that really relax me in a way. Anything I can be creative with.
Perfect, perfect, Jason. And now, Jason, we play a game where we ask you to give us three statements. Two of them have to be truths, and one of them has to be a lie. And please, let's hope, Jason, that those statements are something extremely rocking and something very unusual, something that's unexpected. And let's see if I can guess which one of them is a lie. So, do you have three such statements for us today?
I do. I do. I have my statements ready. So I won a cooking competition for making the best tacos. I also once worked in the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York. And I once helped Matthew McConaughey set up roaming on his phone when I was living in Rome.
All right. At least we've lived up to all these three statements being super exciting and interesting. So let's take them one by one. I think making tacos is something that's possible, that's within your skill set. So I'm going to assume that yes, you've done that and excelled to the extent of winning a competition. The one about your chance encounter with Matthew McConaughey, I think that I really hope that's a truth as well. And I'd love to hear more about that incident. And working on the Twin Towers. Well, I would like to believe that that's also a possibility. That's the truth. But just in the interest of this game, I'm going to presume that's a lie, and I'd like to hear that part of the story as well. So, am I right out here?
No, you're not right.
Okay. So, which one is the lie?
That I won a cooking competition. I
Okay.
try very hard with cooking, but I'm not necessarily very good at it. So
Awesome. I'm actually not disappointed, because then that makes the other two statements very interesting. So, let's hear a bit about both of them. So, what's the story about you and Matthew McConaughey?
I have a friend who is who organizes premieres of films, and before I lived in Spain, I lived in Italy and in Rome, and I was there for 4 years. And he invited me to various premieres, and on one occasion, it was a premiere of a film by Matthew McConaughey, on which he actually got the Oscar. And we were in a bar. There was like maybe six of us, and he couldn't get his phone working for roaming, so I actually helped him to do that, and his wife was there as well, and they were very pleased with the the outcome. Although I'm not necessarily a phone specialist, a lot of telecoms people, they don't focus on devices, but I just happened to know, and so I set it up for him.
Interesting. I'm sure that must have been one good experience. Do you have a picture with him from that incident?
I don't have a picture because being my usual self, I'm like, ooh, that's a yeah. I didn't push. I didn't push the to make that happen. But I also met some other celebrities as well, and it was Rome is such a beautiful place. A lot of people like to go there, so it's possible to kind of really meet some interesting people.
Absolutely. I think interesting people and interesting places, that's quite the hallmark of this industry for sure. So, whether you meet a celebrity or not, I think there are enough interesting personalities amongst us walking around. So, I think that's always something that keeps us going within this industry. And what about the Twin Towers? How was that experience? Were you working there like as an intern or full time, or what was that about?
Well, no, I mean, I was in university at the time. I took a summer out, which was possible in the UK at that time, to go to the US, and you had to arrive in New York, and you had to find yourself a job. And this was back in 1996. So I was going around trying to find myself a job in New York. You get your accommodation paid for a few days, but after that, you really have to live your own future. You have to kind of make work, and you have to survive. I mean, it's incredible, really, that I was pretty young, and I got this job working in a restaurant, which was in ground zero of the World Trade Center, and that was a fun period of my life. It was, epic, let's say, to be in that space, to be really in the center of New York, in that key location, and to experience that. So these things all, make you grow, develop as people, and give you courage and give you confidence, right? So once you have courage and confidence, you can take on anything.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful thought that once you have courage and confidence, I think you can face any challenge in this world. Awesome. All right. That was interesting, Jason. Thank God we absolutely made it fun and spicy the way you did. And the last question of this section now, if there's one thing about your life that you could change, what would that one thing be?
So this is a little bit of a. I don't really have regrets. I tend to kind of like take on things. Like I said before, I'm very ambitious. What I kind of found in my journey was people in my life who didn't believe in innovation, who didn't believe in new ideas. There's people who will say there's no new ideas left. Everything has been done before. Everything hasn't been done, really. We don't know everything about our planet. We don't know about space. We don't know about these aspects. And I think we're always surprised when things come along like AI, which are transforming our industry, right? Sprinkling on top of everything. And I think that's one thing I would change about my life, is to put more people who have that kind of viewpoint out there. I think it was Seneca who said 2,000 years ago, that many discoveries are reserved for ages still to come. So we are living in this age now. We think we know everything, but we really don't. And I think there's always room for new exploration and innovation. That's why I keep on, throughout my work and my personal life, like pushing for that.
And I think all the organizations that you set up, and within that, the programs that you're running, is a testament to that. So, well said. I think you are totally living up to it.
Trying my best.
Awesome. And Jason, much as we're having a really interesting conversation out here, but we're finally on to our final question, our signature question. What does being human mean to you? What sort of a human being would you want the world to remember you as?
Very good point. I think for me, it's that I would like to be remembered as somebody that got their hands dirty, right? That got their hands in the mud, that wasn't afraid to do that, right? So my grandmother always said, she would be knitting. And, I've had a lot of female mentors in my life, and they're the best in my experience. My grandmother said, it's knitting. If you don't turn out right, you just pull it apart and start over. And that is something you can't always do, but you can often get that chance to do. And I think, it's about being ambitious, just driving. You can do it whatever you want to do, right? Within limits, you can achieve it. So be bold and push forward and try new things. And I think that's how I'd like to be remembered, as somebody who did that. I wasn't afraid of challenges, and that's the kind of legacy I'd like to leave behind, I think.
Perfect, Jason. Once again, I think you're totally living up to this legacy and all these initiatives that you're running. And even beyond the initiatives, I think you as a person, whoever gets to interact with you, does get a rub-off effect of some of these thoughts that you harbor within you. So I do hope that in the coming days, we get to catch up as well. It's been a long time. And I do hope that whoever else gets to hear this podcast is encouraged and inspired at some point of time to cross paths with the lovely Jason Bryan and get to experience this phenomenal personality firsthand.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been great, and it's been fun also. So it's lovely to speak to you again, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Jason. Thanks for taking out so much time. And as always, to our wonderful listeners here, thanks a lot for tuning into the show. We hope this episode gave you a good glimpse of the human side of Jason Bryan. Someone who identifies himself as a lifelong learner and an innovator. Someone who's super creative and passionate and who loves his literature. Someone who has a claim to fame of helping a celebrity setting up roaming on his phone. Something for sure within our spaces, something which we would really look forward to and envy him for that. And finally, someone who I would truly call a man of the industry. That for us is our lovely Jason Bryan. So, if you enjoyed today's episode, do stay tuned in, because we shall soon be releasing yet another episode and another compelling story from the telecom space. And do follow the podcast on your preferred streaming channel. On behalf of Humans of Telecom, this is your host Anurag Aggarwal signing off for now. Take care.